Happy Friday! Welcome to Mad Oak Bar in downtown Oakland. Courtney Cronin, Anthony Slater, Tim Kawakami here live on Bay Area Sports Insiders. The NBA Finals kicked off on Thursday. The Warriors with a Game 1 romp over the Cleveland Cavaliers. Thank you guys for joining me today. Would love for you guys to come down. Have some drinks with us. We're having fun. It's Friday. It's happy hour. Some props. Thank you for joining us, too. I mean, Anthony was our last-minute addition here. He's our utility player.
Coaching decision.
Yeah, we called him up, Marcus Thompson, MIA, but, you know, it's all good.
Got called up in the
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier. You're not related to him, are you?
No, I am not related to Austin Slater. Although if he hits 2 bombs over the next
you will take ownership of him.
What's the anthology.com? Figure something out. Get some tickets.
All right, so as we mentioned, the Warriors kicking things off on Thursday night. Game 2 is coming up 2 days from now, so as if the break wasn't long enough, we got 2 more days for the NBA Finals. 113-91 win. A lot of observations here. This is a team that, you know, held the Warriors to 89 points in the NBA Finals, commit 20 turnovers on Thursday night. And the Warriors themselves, I mean, this is their notion of playing really competitive basketball has been, let's make this look extra hard for everybody else watching around us, the circus shots, the crazy passes, and they only had 4 turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest takeaway from the game is I thought the 4 turnovers looked really bad on the Cavaliers defense because, look, the Warriors all season have had very focused games, and 8 turnovers was their season low in the regular season, 7 turnovers was their postseason low. The Cavaliers just had 0 disruption on the defensive end, bad transition. To me, that looked like the Portland Trail Blazers in round 1 type defense. Jazz were better defensively, Spurs were better defensively, and if that doesn't change, or I mean, if that doesn't drastically change, this might be a 4 or 5 game.
Yeah, I think it just shows how much LeBron James has to dominate the whole series for Cleveland to even have a chance.
Sure.
You know, he's their best defensive player. He's by far their best offensive player. He's going to have the ball in his hands. He's got to score, assist, all these things. 8 turnovers, a lot of points, a lot of rebounds. 8 turnovers. That was killer for them because he had the ball. He was the one trying to make the plays, and the ball it wasn't efficient. The Warriors made him do stuff he didn't want to do, and he didn't have energy on the other side. So when Kevin Durant lines up and beats LeBron James, and there's no help, which we saw, and they lose that. If Cleveland loses that matchup, it's over. I think even if they tie that matchup, it's tough for Cleveland. They lost that matchup, and we just saw it's a landslide. If that one guy, now he's a good player, LeBron James, he's going to be better, but if he doesn't dominate that matchup, forget about it.
So Kevin Durant takes the win in round 1 versus LeBron James, but can the same be said about the Kevin Durant Rihanna war? We see that she comes
Tougher matchup maybe for
she
Kevin.
Comes in 9 minutes late. She's bowing to LeBron. She's doing the dab to the Warriors crowd. We don't know what was said.
Rihanna, if you're out there, you want to come on to Mad Oak.
We'd love you to come down here and let us know what was going on. But he looks at her, and I believe it's Eddie Curry, or not Eddie Curry, Eddie Q, the Apple VP, said something to her. There was a lot going on there. What do you think, Tim, was said? Because there was some.
At first, I thought it might have been Kevin, kind of like, "Hey, you know, you like that?" Because it was right in front of her. Now we got video that says otherwise. She was yelling at him. Yeah. She might have been on the LeBron thing, so he might have said something that was, "Hey, look at that." I think it might have been a little more tense than I thought. It might have just been superstar flirtation. Maybe it's Rihanna. And he's tweeted nice things about her.
It was superstar flirtation.
You think it was?
I mean,
but Rihanna's a Cavs fan, a noted Cavs fan. She was outside the Cavs locker room screaming LeBron last year.
Not a Cavs fan, a LeBron fan.
I mean, what female rapper is not a LeBron fan? Though we have Nicki Minaj rapping about him, Rihanna raps about him.
Kevin knows Rihanna. I know they have mutual friends. One of his friends used to be friendly with Rihanna. Drake is all involved in that circle.
And his agent, Rich Kleiman, was standing with her there, so who knows?
They're friendly, and that's just friendly back and forth. It's the same. You know who Kevin Durant's very good friends with? Drake, and guess what he was doing in Toronto? I don't care about Drake night. That's just fun. Number 1, it's fun for them, and number 2 is branding, because guess what people are talking about today? Rihanna likes people talking about her. Kevin Durant likes people talking about him. They're talking about both of them together. I think they enjoyed all of it.
You know what I think was said?
Yeah.
I mean, there was some staring, but I think to pull from Kendrick, It was the be humble, sit down. Because she's up there, she's bowing, she's screaming, she's yelling brick. But hey, that's what we were all talking about.
Had a few of these.
Yeah, she may have had a few drinks beforehand, but hey, I mean, who else can walk into a game 9 minutes late? Jay-Z was there and he didn't do that.
No.
So, I mean, he lost his mind. Like, the guy who's not distracted by anything, watches high school basketball games for fun, was just distracted
theater.
by
NBA
Rihanna.
theater. It's what it is. It's what we tune in for.
Probably only get better as we see more celebrities coming out throughout the later games in the NBA Finals. Want to remind you, if you have questions for Anthony or Tim, be sure to tweet them using the hashtag.
So the question should be, what is Anthony drinking? Ask that one. What is Slater drinking?
Lemonade.
It's lemonade with a lime in it, so he's keeping it pretty classy here on a Friday. We did have one question come in from one of our in-audience members who did not want to be on camera today, but I'm going to make sure I get the Twitter handle right here. It's legally skilled.
Yeah.
Tim, I'm going to start with you here. What do the Warriors do to keep Tristan Thompson under control, and will they be able to continue keeping him off the offensive glass? He only finished with 4 rebounds, 0 points, non-existent.
That's a great question, because I just don't know that they did anything special. I think his energy wasn't there. Now, I thought they would play him more than he did. They pulled him off. He's going to be huge in this series, has to, because he's hurt the Warriors before. I think Pachulia played him really well. But that's one of the reasons why they like to play Pachulia, even when he misses layups or he doesn't even shoot layups. And it gets frustrating for fans, I know. But he knocks people around. And I think he got into Thompson a little bit, and Thompson didn't get the easy baskets that kind of fuels him, that gets his energy going. And Love was getting all the rebounds anyway, so they pulled Thompson off the floor. He never got a rhythm. I don't know that the Warriors said, here's what we got to do to stop Tristan Thompson, but I definitely think Pachulia did something, kind of just physically got into him, knocked him around a little bit, which surprises me, because Tristan Thompson's a great offensive, maybe the best offensive rebounder in the game.
Killed him last year doing that.
Just never got emotionally into this game. I would expect way more from him. That's one person they've got to see more from. You'll see the similar stuff out of LeBron, maybe without the 8 turnovers. But man, if Tristan Thompson has got to be pulled off the floor, and they're going with Kevin Love at center for huge sections of the game, that plays right into the Warriors' hands, I believe.
And they were happy with the 21 rebounds from Kevin Love, but you can't have that matchup go awry.
Look, I'm not really that worried about Tristan Thompson. I think people look too much at the 0 points and think, oh, what a bad night. They've never run one play for him in any
Well, they play the pick and roll, though. I mean, they do that pick and roll with Kyrie.
It can get him a little floater or a clear lane for a dunk. It's basically the JaVale McGee role, and there's times it wasn't working. The energy's not there. The energy in that entire team wasn't really there for, I'd say, the last 2.5 quarters or so, kind of when the Warriors started to separate. He'll be better. To me, it's more about the other bench players. I'm just concerned about how they fit in this matchup. Kyle Korver, bad night. Darren Williams, I thought was really bad.
J.R. Smith opening sequence there, and then we didn't see him.
We saw him running away from Kevin Durant on the fast break. That's where we saw him.
All right, time to play a little bit of true or false. Some questions. We'll throw it Tim and Anthony and get their take on it. Kevin Durant, in his return to the NBA Finals, first time since 2012, going against the player that beat him when LeBron was with Miami Heat. Kevin was with the Oklahoma City Thunder. True or false, Tim? Is he the best player, all-around player in this NBA Finals?
I'm going to say it's false. Despite what happened in Game 1, he was the best player in Game 1. I don't think he's the best player overall. I think there's just so much more burden on LeBron that it looks worse when he's not good because he's got to do more, or if the energy isn't there, it looks worse because he's got to still guard Kevin Durant, and Durant's going to attack him. We're seeing Kevin Durant at his best. This is Kevin Durant saying, I'm taking it to LeBron James. I think LeBron will answer that challenge in the next game. I don't know that they're going to win. I've given Cleveland 1 or 2 games just because of LeBron, but because LeBron can lead. In the last series, he led them in points. Though the series in points, assists, rebounds, and minutes. That LeBron is still there. It wasn't so much in Game 1. LeBron's still the best player, but Durant's awfully a lot closer than a lot of people think.
Well, do you remember what happened in Game 1 of the 2012 Finals? Yep. Kevin Durant had 36 points. He had 14 in the fourth quarter. He completely outplayed LeBron James in that game. He went up 1-0 on LeBron James. It's different this time around. Kevin Durant is 5 years older. His teammates obviously are a lot better. The matchup obviously favors the Warriors, but Kevin Durant's always been at as close a level as any small forward in the game, or at least for the last 5 years has been. It just hasn't been on this stage since 2012. I'm very interested to see how LeBron responds in Game 2. I think he's going to come out. I think he's probably watching film today. He's seeing him slip.
He's watching Bay Area Insiders and going, wait a minute now, I got to do something.
And he knows about this next question that's probably coming. I'm not sure who this one is from, but it's a good one. I didn't see LeBron playing much defense in Game 1. What was he doing defensively that hurt or stymied? How do you say that word?
Stymied?
Stymied. I learned a new word today. The Warriors.
What did he did? That didn't stymie the Warriors?
Do that.
I just don't think he was slow on switches. He wasn't that interested in help defense. Listen, he's got so much responsibility. It's hard to say you've got to be full tilt Draymond Green on every defensive possession. He's not going to be, but he has to be most of the possessions because the other guys aren't going to do it like the way he's doing it. But he was a little lazy. I thought he was looked like he was trying to conserve trying to conserve energy, knowing everything that he has to do on the offensive side. That's the problem, though. He's got to be on both sides. He's got to be Draymond Green on one side. He's got to be Steph Curry, Kevin Durant on the other side. That's the burden he has. The Warriors can split it up. He can't be lazy on defense because he's playing 42 minutes.
Is it lazy, though, or is it just gassed? I mean, when you take...
No, I think it was a little lazy. I mean, there was... The Cavaliers, I don't know how many times you can watch the film of Game 1, the Warriors would come up, and before the screen was even set, they were just, kind of handing, LeBron was just handing Durant off to Irving, and then he'd just take Irving in the paint. One time he handed him off to Tristan Thompson, and then Tristan Thompson didn't really defend Durant well, but Durant still missed an open 12-footer. But JaVale McGee was then on LeBron, and LeBron just let JaVale McGee, get an offensive rebound, and then it got kicked back to Durant, and LeBron was kind of in his way, and LeBron did one of those let him blow by, and he tried to kind of, pick him from behind. It was a bunch of those type of plays, and the thing is, if you're looking at this Cavs team, you can say, well, they can play a lot better defensively, but then you look like Kyle Korver can't up his level. Kevin Love can't really up his level.
Kyrie Irving
cannot really up his level that much. If they were all playing right here yesterday, there's only one player on the team that can take it here defensively. He has to take it here, or at least somewhat close to it.
That question, courtesy of Nate L. on Twitter, @HouseOfAnnie. Great question. Love to hear more of those from our online audience. Let's get back to true or false. Super teams. Obviously, two of them right here. When we take a look at the talent spread throughout the finals in terms of all-stars, in terms of accomplishments, in terms of prior rings, a lot of people are going to argue that this is the most talented group that we've seen on both sides play in the NBA Finals. But what about looking back at the 90s, Tim? Yeah. I mean, looking back at 1996 was a pretty talented Finals, too.
Yeah, I mean, anyone that involves Jordan, I mean, LeBron, Jordan, there's a whole other debate there. But anyone that Michael's, Pippen, and you go Stockton, I mean, all those are we know where they are in history. We can fix them in history. Sure. We can't fix this one in history yet. LeBron's going to be way up there, but Steph's going to be way up there, and Durant's going. If the Warriors win this title, Durant's going to be up there. It's hard to fix this. We don't really know where Kyrie's going to be historically. We don't know where Love. This is a lot of talent.
Draymond or Clay.
Draymond and Clay. Yeah, these are potentially all Hall of Famers, but possibly not with some of them. We don't. I'll just say, in their primes and this moment, just to have LeBron, Steph, Durant, and Draymond, those are about as good as you get in their primes. Maybe different times, different eras. Other like Kareem when he was older, Magic when he was young. These are all guys like 26 to 30. That's a great cross section of talent. Again, we're gonna have to see how their careers go on. But let's say Steph racks up 4 titles, Durant gets 3, LeBron gets 4. Then you're going to be able to stack it against history. We don't know. I'll just say, peer for peer, prime for prime, this is way up there.
Well, didn't the argument come up back in 2014 with the Spurs too? Because those guys were kind of past their prime at that point. They were veterans in their careers, far past it. But a lot of people were bringing up, okay, well, maybe this is the best team.
And you had Dwayne Wade, you got LeBron for Miami. I mean, there's different cross sections. I'll just say what it is it's LeBron is an all-time great, and the Warriors are an all-time great team. That's what the great matchup is. That's the difference. It's 1 versus 4, and you can throw Kyrie and Kevin Love sort of in that competition.
To me, it's also the positional, head-on-head part of this, where this is probably the 2 greatest small forwards ever. Look, it's definitely the top small forward in history in LeBron James. And I think Kevin Durant will probably surpass. I'd say Larry Bird is right there with him, probably ahead of him at this point. But if Durant has another good few years, if he gets really up there in point totals near Kareem, I think we're probably looking at the 2 best small forwards to ever play basketball. So, and then Kyrie and Steph, wherever they end up landing. So that, to me, just the fact that it isn't spread positioning, they have to guard each other. You wrote about it. It's LeBron James against Kevin Durant almost every possession.
report came out earlier on Friday saying Steve Kerr potentially could coach in Game 2. This has been something we talked about last week.
Talking about this on the way over here.
It could fit into true or false, but I mean, this is nothing new. This is the same type of talk that we heard last week. Mike Brown saying that he knew nothing new about it today. Klay Thompson, even though we could barely hear him, said that he didn't hear anything new. Tim, does he coach in Game 2?
I don't know.
They are keeping the door open. We talked about this yesterday.
They do want the door open. I think Steve Kerr badly he's a competitive guy. I talked to him a couple days ago. He wants to coach. He wants the option that's there that he might be able to coach. I think the Warriors management's a little more cautious. They just don't want him to have a bad day. And then he can't, to say he's going to coach and then he has a bad day that day, then he's not coaching. So it's an option. It's there. He's feeling better. But some days he doesn't feel great. We'll see if he's running practice tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see how energetic he looks tomorrow. I don't think he's going to coach in Game 2. Just a guess. I don't know. And then they'll look. A couple more days off. Look at Game 3. See how the flight, all these things that affect him. He told me flights don't affect him. We'll see. We don't know. Sure. My realistic, practical look at this is they're going to say might. He's not going to coach. And then if they lose a game or two, then they might rethink a lot of things. Sure. Then the standard might be a little, now that's cynical, but it's competition too. What they're saying is there's no, and even Steve said, there's really not a need for him. They haven't lost a game yet in the playoffs. Maybe it becomes much more a practical question if they lose a game, and maybe they could use a jump start and put Steve on the bench. Until then, I don't know that he's going to coach.
I just don't really understand the rush. Like, I understand Kerr's competitiveness, it's the finals and he wants to get back to it, but to me, the worst thing you could do, look, he is dealing with stuff that has to do with almost sometimes stress and just being
it's your nervous system.
It's a nervous system type of thing. So why, if you're in the early stages of rehab, and the most important thing that Bob Myers and they all say is this is about his life, this isn't about basketball, this is about years beyond. Why, to me, if you have 3 days of really good progress, the worst thing to do is let's go throw him on a treadmill that's going at 10 basically on the court.
And that loud music and the lights.
And especially in Cleveland too, where they pump in the crowd noise.
And guess what? Not that
the music is
it was originally the back, obviously, that he hurt, but where did he hurt the back and when did he hurt the back? NBA Finals 2 years ago in Cleveland, jumping up. LeBron James is going to cause some stress for a coach. Those games in Cleveland, fans might be yelling stuff. You mentioned the music. The NBA Finals, you can barely walk on the sidelines. There's so many people in the building. Like, why, if you are feeling progress, which clearly he has lately, would you test it on that stage?
Yeah, I just think they want it open. And Steve wants it open. He's competitive, and he doesn't want to say that's it. I'm not coaching this finals. But I think it's going to take a higher threshold than has been met for the Warriors to say, okay, this is going to sound good because you're coaching Game 2. What if he coaches Game 2 and feels terrible the next day? He's not coaching Game 2. These are the things that are going through them. So yes, you can always say he might coach. He might have coached Game 1. He didn't rule that out. He'll go up to Game 2 and they won't know, but they'll know. I don't think he's going to coach Game 2. Then maybe they'll look at Game 3. I don't think he's coaching Game 3. Then they'll look at. I don't think. They lose a game, I think then you really maybe it'll start becoming a serious issue.
Hard to keep him out. I mean, this is a guy who had the game winner on his own in Game 1 about 20 years ago. So
Michael Jordan, throw it to that guy.
All right, another question coming through via Scribble Live from Dubs Nation. Marcus and I talked about this a little bit yesterday. I think
Marcus who? Who's this?
Marcus Thompson, the guy who's supposed to be here today? No. I think Zaza has been a vastly underrated part of the Warriors season. He's not the force at the rim like Bogut, but his toughness has been invaluable. How worried should we be that he'll sign somewhere else after the season? He's obviously a free agent. We had talked about the rotation at center and just the depth options that they have this year versus last year with, Festus Ezeli, who had very few spurts, Anderson Varejao, which, that's its own issue, and then with Andrew Bogut, and then he got hurt in Game 5.
Yeah, it's interesting. Usually it's get rid of Pachulia from Warriors fans and play JaVale, right? That's all we hear.
Not
Pachulia. I don't think the Warriors are overly concerned about what Zaza Pachulia is going to do. If he wants to come back, they can sign him at a minimum. If he doesn't want to come back, a lot of centers out there are looking at what the Warriors have done with this rotation. This is not terrible. And go get lobs and just bump around with people. David West may or may not come back. JaVale may or may not come back. I don't think the Warriors are that Anthony Tolliver's a free agent, one of Steph Curry's best friends. They put it together on the floor. We didn't know this group was going to be like this. They didn't know this group was going to be like this. And you still have Damian Jones, who I believe is going to play next year. So they're not very worried. They love. Hey, Zaza's an incredibly popular guy in that locker room. Maybe like just the all-around nicest guy to everybody in that locker room. They'd like to. Doesn't mean they're going to. They've got a lot of other monetary issues they got to deal with ahead of Zaza. But if he comes back at the minimum, great. If he doesn't, I think they think, okay, there's 5 other guys going to call us to want that slot, and they'll be pretty decent centers.
I think they're going to do that with all 3 of these centers in the offseason. They're going to lay down JaVale McGee, David West, and Zaza with the minimum contract. Say yes or no. It's not a discussion. It's not a negotiation. If you say yes, however many of them say yes, that's who they have. Damian Jones, as he said, I think they're comfortable at least early in the season because the regular season at this point is the preseason for them to toss him out there. Center position, it's just going to be it's going to be a rotating door. I think,
like it was last year going into this season.
And they didn't know it was going to be like this. They weren't sure. They thought Pachulia might play 25 minutes a game instead of these 18 to 20 now. It just kind of happened, but this is how good, like Steph Curry and Draymond Green, and you kind of work your way around. They figure out how it's going to be. You fit the guys into that slot. Boom, there it is. There's your center rotation. It may not work out like this again, but I do like that Zaza's getting some respect here because I rip him sometimes, but I also understand he does stuff the coaches like, at least to start each half. He may not come back into the game, but to start each half, he sets screens, he bangs around.
Started in that third quarter last night. I mean,
he'll bang around people. He'll throw wild. You can't make a layup.
The circus shot that he made.
If somebody's hitting him and he's flipping around, the ball goes in.
He's actually done that like more than last night this year. It's kind of weird.
He's watching Curry apparently. He said he was watching him a little too much.
Now he's got to watch Steph on the open layups, but that's a whole other thing.
What's interesting about their strategy with the center position is, look, they did it this season. They just got like 7-8 guys headed into camp. A lot of them didn't. Everyone wants to talk about the guys that didn't work out. JaVale unbelievably worked out. David West, I didn't think they knew he could pass like he has. Kevon Looney has not worked out. Damian Jones, maybe in the future, but he has not recovered like super quickly from the pec injury. Bergeau, McAdoo actually has been okay in spurts, but I think they figure if they throw 7 darts, 3 will hit, and then that's
they can bring Bergeau back.
And you know what else they can do? If they have a center rotation that's not as good next year, or some of the guys decline, hey, Draymond Green, you're just going to play 10 more minutes tonight in center. And that's Kevin Durant, you can play center too.
And that's a great point that we're going to actually get into. But if I'm David West, if I get my ring this year, I'm hanging it up. Come on. After all that, 14 seasons, I'm done. Yeah. I'm calling it quits.
Like, this is not stressful.
No,
he's loving it, and he's become. I don't think anybody knew how good of a passer he was going into this season. One of the best passing big men. Yeah. But let's keep moving on with this real quick before we end True or False. True or False? The Cavs are going to figure out how to guard the Warriors in Game 2. Obviously, we're going to see some adjustments. We're probably going to see not 6 first half dunks in transition for Kevin Durant. How do they do that? I mean, we knew that this was a bottom 10 defense coming into the NBA Finals, and just some of the flaws and the way that the Warriors were able to exploit those against the Cavs in other matchups. But where if you're Tyronn Lue, do you remedy this, Anthony?
I think you just crank up the energy. You just have to. That's the big thing. I mean, I think you go right to LeBron James in the locker room. You just need to get everyone going. Beyond that,
yeah, they don't have. You can play him on Shumpert more, but the Warriors love that because they don't have to guard him. You could play. That's the problem is they don't have a lot of other personnel. The Warriors can go Iguodala, Livingston, Barnes. They could just keep bringing guys off the bench who can play D, and their starters play D too. It's going to be LeBron. Kyrie's going to have to pressure the ball a lot better than he did because Steph was kind of running around on his own. J.R. Smith has played good D in the past. He's going to have to play better. They just have to play better, and I think they can. They played better at times in the playoffs. It's not going to be super level. It just has to be at a higher level than they saw. The Warriors really didn't have to work for a lot of their shots. At least make them work, stress them out so they, maybe they turn the ball over. You get those live ball turnovers and they're off. It's going to have to be an energy thing. Hey, they played defense last finals. Now, Shumpert was playing more, but they did play some defense. Now, Steph was banged up. We know all the issues that the Warriors had in games 5, 6, and 7, but it's there. It just didn't show up in Game 1. Didn't even come close to showing up in Game 1. Now remember, Kevin Love had a little lesser role with that because he got the concussion in Game 3, 2, missed Game 3, and had a little bit of a lesser role as this games went on. And played 25, 30 minutes. He wasn't playing 40 minutes. Love's not a good defensive player. So I mean, maybe you have to lessen his role a little bit. But and I'm on Twitter saying they got to play Kyle Korver more, because, and he's a terrible defensive player, because they do have to score more points. Yeah. They have to score more points. I'm a defensive guy first, but man, I don't know that they've got enough defense to make up for them playing terrible on offense. And I would say Korver, and then just hope the defense shows up somewhere.
Well, and they got to stop turning it over. I mean, you can't turn it over 20 times, because
and LeBron turning it over 8.
Those dunks happen. Yes, because it's a loose ball, and then it's 4-on-3, and then it's just dunks.
All right, moving into our what happens next. Anthony, you teed it up perfectly. Draymond Green playing more center. I mean, he is their rim protector in so many different cases, and the Warriors going to the small lineup early in Game 2. When does that come into play?
When the Cavs make it dangerous. I mean, I think until the Warriors feel threatened in this series, they're just going to play their rotation that they're going to play. They're going to not have Curry and Durant on the floor to start the second quarter. And even if that's against LeBron like it was yesterday, if they're just going to be a +2 in those moments, they're just going to keep playing their regular season rotation. And they're going to close halves with Draymond, but I don't think they're going to rush and play a bunch of Draymond Green at center until it's like, okay, the Cavs are here to play. They're up 10 in the first half, and there's danger time. Then it's going to be a lot of Draymond Green at center, but there's no guarantees that that's going to be at any point in this series.
Yeah, you know, Cleveland went small early in the second half in Game 1. And what did the Warriors do? They didn't go with Draymond at center. They went with James Michael McAdoo, got him outraged. Where's JaVale? Where's JaVale? So they want to save Draymond. They want to save the Hamptons 5 to the last 3 minutes of the first half and the last 3 minutes, or 5 minutes. They extend it in the fourth quarter, but they don't want to press that. You know, it does wear down Draymond a little bit to play center, even if it's against Kevin Love. Just it's a different energy level for him, but they always have it. I mean, they have it in the back pocket. They might play it earlier, and as like he said, it's a lot of what the Warriors do is based on, is it what they're doing working? Is it not working? Then they switch it. Until it stops working, they're not. You know, there's really no need to start tinkering around with stuff. You know, remember when Steph got hurt last year? He didn't come back until they lost the game, and then he came back, and maybe he rushed it a little bit, but they do things reacting to how the series is going. And right now, how threatened they are, what's not working. Last night, they just rolled the ball out, and everything they're the Warriors. This is what they do. This is everything they do. They just did what they do. Cleveland never made them adjust, not one time. Only the 2 fouls with Draymond early made them adjust, and they just played Kevin Durant all quarter.
And it worked.
Andre Iguodala's going to play more. It's not a terrible. This is a roster that the Warriors can do all these things. I don't know that they're going to the death lineup. They're going to just play the death lineup the way they do it until Cleveland threatens them. Absolutely, until there's a challenge.
That brings up another one. With Andre back, he's back where the Warriors want him. I think that might have been one of the more underrated storylines in Game 1. Seeing how explosive he was in that first and second quarter, where does his role increase now? I mean, he was the X factor 2 years ago against LeBron, and that's kind of where everything aligns to in order to help Kevin Durant. So he's not having that responsibility throughout however many games this goes.
Yeah, I mean, I think his role is what he did yesterday, which was he had a couple. He just gets out.
Those dunks were fun. Well. Those were fun to see him from him.
Not just fun dunks, but I think when he's going well, what you see from him is he just sprints out those lanes on the fast break. And he's very active with the hands.
Yep.
He came down on, I think he caused 3 of the steals.
Kyrie went on Kyrie.
He ripped Kyrie, and that just got him out on the fast break. So if he's just doing that, and I think he had a couple assists, and he hit a 3. And if he was 3 of 27 coming in. If he hits threes at 40% in this series, he is just the 5th wheel of a lineup that may be the best in the NBA.
And I think it's just for down the road. For all Warriors, how valuable he was against LeBron in 2015, obviously Finals MVP. And you know that he was limited at the end of last series, and he didn't play LeBron the same way. They might, again, it's a great luxury. You got Durant on LeBron, winning that battle, and in case Durant gets tired, gets in foul trouble, doesn't play as great, you just put Iguodala on, who won a Finals MVP for doing exactly that, guarding LeBron. And forcing Tristan Thompson out from the lane, because that's who Tristan Thompson guards when the Warriors go to their death lineup. It's an incredible luxury. I think they're going to have to use it. It would be amazing if they win a series and don't have to put Iguodala on LeBron. But they got it. They got it right there. They got Livingston, who can play LeBron, by the way. He's not playing great, but he can do it.
He's got the length.
This is the Warriors have all these guys they can put on LeBron.
You're doubling effects. It's coming back in here.
I made up on the spot.
Trademark that, by the way.
I need to trademark a lot of stuff. I need to trademark a lot of stuff. No, I came up with that as we were talking on the court.
Back during the San Antonio
wherever the hell
series.
we were. Yeah.
You know what else what I saw yesterday, they had him on Kyrie some. Iguodala, which remember they haven't really had another Iguodala guy. I mean another Kyrie guy because Iguodala's had to do so much LeBron. Now that Durant can play LeBron so well, you can just you give Clay a tag team and Iguodala can guard Kyrie. I thought he did it well too.
Yeah. All right, one more question coming through from Scribble Live. Got a few more minutes here from Golden One. 3-1 is fresh in all of our minds, but aside from an injury or a suspension, what will it take for the Warriors to lose 4 times in this series?
4 out of the next 6.
Yeah.
Just some duds from them. They may come out and throw a dud in Game 2. I think Game 2 is big for the rest of the series, although I know they went up 2-0 to go to Cleveland last year. I think they can really make a statement in Game 2 because I expect the Cavs to come out and energize it. I expect a bigger LeBron James game. But if they can just stem that, still, win that game, then the Cavs got to win 4 or 5 against. At this point, I'm almost going to say an injury.
They can't play it sloppily as they did in Game 1 and expect the result from last night.
For Cleveland to get back in this series, if it's in 2 or 3, I think LeBron has to be the greatest player in the league and not even close. We have to just go, that is the greatest player.
Which he did last year.
Which he did multiple times. Now, Kyrie turned in a 40-point game in one of those games. There were other players, but it all happens because LeBron. We see the stats of LeBron from last night. I didn't think it was a very good LeBron game. Again, the 8 turnovers to me were just so huge. He was a minus 22. I know people don't hate that number, but LeBron James cannot be a minus 22 and Cleveland have any chance at all. We saw it. It can't happen. Doesn't mean he's playing poorly. It just means he didn't lift everyone else up. If LeBron plays fantastically, Cleveland's going to win 1. Maybe 2. I can't see him playing fantastic enough for them to win 4. But he's going to have to play fantastically 4 times to win 4 games, in my opinion. They don't have anyone else to do it.
And I'm not going to ask you guys whether you're going to change your picks. I mean,
I have them in 6. What did you have them in? 5?
I had them in 6. I had them in 6.
Yeah.
I'm leading 5 after game.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens in 2. And games 3 are always tough, but
it changes.
It does change.
Just like last year. Games like this in Games 1, a 15-point victory. In Game 1 last year, I can't do the math of 113 minus 91. I'm sure it's around 15 points. So the
22.
Thank you. The overreactions that come out after games like this, and if they go up 2-0 in the series, people think, okay, it's over, things like that. So that's one of them. But does Golden State not need is that an overreaction to say that they don't need Klay Thompson in this series?
They need him to defend, playing defense.
But do they not need him?
They sure could use him, I think, on the road for sure. And he's had great games on the road.
Yeah.
We know Game 6 of Oklahoma City, somebody wrote a really long story about that recently.
It's a good story.
That maybe, again, I keep expecting those shots to go in because he's Klay. I mean, we've seen him have off games and then he comes right back. Now we've had almost a whole playoffs of him not making shots, which is straight. And that one shank he put up last night, like just wide left.
It felt like they were forcing it to him.
He tried to bank it and then not bank it, and so most of his shots looked okay. They just didn't go in. That one looked like he's really thinking about it. He just needs one to go in, one three-pointer to go in. I think there might be a flood from there. Do they need it? Man, they showed last night they don't necessarily need it. I mean, if they got Durant going like that and Steph going like that, they don't necessarily need it. Or Draymond wasn't shooting either. They didn't need either one.
He didn't make his first basket until what? Late third quarter?
They might need him. I think they're going to need him at some point in Cleveland. What they really need is one big game from him, I think, to maybe just kind of stamp this.
Can we say slow your roll, LeBron, with the whole LeBron not being an elite defender?
I think he's capable.
Yeah, he won last night, but man, if you turn in a couple more of those against Kevin Durant, that's your matchup. Like we're looking, Kevin Durant met the challenge. He saw LeBron James, and historically he knew how important this was. Well, LeBron's the same way. I mean, LeBron can't say, the hell with this matchup, I don't care. This is important. It's a finals. It's the 7th in a row, but it doesn't mean he can just blow it off. If he stinks it up for 3-4 more games, it doesn't ruin his legacy, but I might start thinking, okay, I can't just write in 2 wins for a LeBron team. You should be able to because he's that good. That was a weak effort by him in one. I'm not going to say slow your roll on him all time as an elite defender. He's an elite player, all those things. Last night he wasn't, and it ticks him down just a little bit.
All right, slow your roll. Is the series going to a sweep or not? I mean, that's the one everybody says after one game. It's where the overreaction and the Twitter crazies come out. I just can't see LeBron not winning a game. I think he's probably among the few players in this series that can swing a finals game either way.
I think they'll win at least one in Cleveland.
Yeah.
That place is going to be going crazy. Tristan Thompson will probably have a big night. JR might have one of those.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about Clay needing to explode. JR can kind of explode in some ways. Maybe he has a 6-3 game. And, you know, Kyle Korver gets going.
Kevin Love can hit a couple. Yeah.
I think there will be a game in the series that they just squeak by and win by 5. And at this point, I said 6. I'm leaning more towards 5, but you know, who knows? Tough changes.
Yeah, I mean, the pressure, if we're saying the Warriors win 2, and we'll see. If they win game 2 big, the pressure's going to be, then the conversation is really going to be, is this over? Is this, 16-0 is going to be huge because the Warriors will be too short of this unbelievable thing. That's when game 3 is the whole series. And it can make you play great at home because you're defending your home turf. It can make you really kind of turtle because you know the pressure. You're like, oh my God, we're down 11 again, and now Klay Thompson's making threes, and what are we going to do? I don't know if like a tight game 2, Cleveland might regain some of their confidence even if they lose. But man, if the Warriors smack them again in game 2, and Durant's going, and we don't see Tristan Thompson again, and we don't see Korver again, and we don't see J.R. Smith again.
Darren Williams.
Game 3, again, I would think Cleveland's going to win it, but the pressure intensifies so many. You know that just if it stays close into the 3rd, like the Utah game, they're behind, and then boom, here they come, and it just might be, and they might fold up. And again, that's just forecasting to the future because we haven't even seen game 2 yet.
Yeah.
But the pressure in game 3, and the Warriors now, after losing all their game 3s last year, they have circled game 3s this year. We are going to be ready for game 3, and we've seen how they play.
But hey, what if they lose 2 by a little bit? Then all of the pressure shifts to the Warriors.
Yes.
So 2's big, just like every game's big, I guess, in a series like this.
I still don't think it's going to be a sweep. I think LeBron's going to win a game. LeBron's going to win a game.
Is he going to get outplayed by Kevin Durant again in game 2?
I wouldn't say outplayed. I really think he's going to turn it up defensively. And if he does that, Kevin Durant cannot score, I don't think, 38 again on him. Because I think he was kind of embarrassed by game 1. So I don't think so.
Yeah, I would say the 8 turnovers, we're not going to see that again. And the lackadaisical defense, we're probably not going to see that again. Now, the numbers might not, again, it might not be, he 26 points and 14 rebounds, and it might be 21 points and 10 assists, but it's efficient. It leads the team. It forces the Warriors to all, they didn't really swing that many people at LeBron. It's just Durant, go get him. You got him. Now, Draymond was kind of waiting there, but he wasn't fully committing. They weren't double teaming LeBron, and LeBron couldn't do it. No, I think we're going to see more where LeBron just turns a corner and makes something happen, and the Warriors have to react, and there's an open shooter. Now, again, I don't know that they're going to win, but I think we're going to see a better LeBron James, and I think we saw the Max Durant, which was really good, which was fantastic. May not see quite that level. Well, he's also not going to be, for the Cleveland sake, he's not going to be just dribbling through the defense, just randomly. Somebody got challenged.
Not going to let that happen like it did in game 1.
Now, the problem is I don't even know who they've got who can go out and knock. Dante Jones going to play because that's the one guy I can see who can knock him around a little bit. Other than that, they don't have those guys.
Look, Tristan Thompson. I'm not saying just lay a flagrant,
but just challenge.
Foul him. Yeah. They only shot 16 free throws, even though they had 56 paint attempts. There was just no.
Like LeBron James was within 3 feet of the basket. They're hitting his arm. They're going to make him go the free throw line. Actually, he shot a pretty good free throw, by the way. That's been an issue in the playoffs. He missed 2 of his first 4, and then I think he made everyone since after that, or at least most of them after that. So maybe that won't be an issue, but that's right. The Warriors are not going to let LeBron James wander through their defense and dunk. If he's going to dunk, there's going to be somebody on top of him, and they might be hitting him with his arm. And they're going to, Zaza that's why he's out there. That's why you want Zaza Pachulia right there.
All right, that's going to do it for us on this episode of Bay Area Sports Insiders. Big thanks to everybody who sent in questions for today's episodes, and also our fine folks here at Mad Oak Bar. Come through, get yourself a cocktail, get your weekend started off right. Game 2 coming up on Sunday. Tip off just after 5 p.m. We will be back on Facebook Live around 4-ish on Sunday to bring you some pregame analysis, let you know if Steve Kerr is going to be coaching or if that will continue, if that storyline will continue out going into Game 3. Be sure to follow Tim, Marcus, and Anthony. Marcus, wherever you are right now.
Marcus, really helped.
Big shout out.
Big help on the show tonight.
Follow them on Twitter for the latest on the Warriors, and we will see you back at Oracle Arena for Game 2. For Tim Kawakami and Anthony Slater, I'm Courtney Cronin. Thanks for watching.